guys. This is the second day of reading Miss Cuddy is Nutty. So I hope you made your predictions with your loved ones, whomever you're working on this with. And I also hope that you're very excited to read the next part of the story. So here we go. This is chapter 3. It's called 100,000 Pizzas. Could you imagine having 100,000 pizzas? I'd be full after half a pizza. What would you do with 100,000 pizzas? All right, let's find out. Nobody could believe elementary was actually giving the school $1 million. Man, that lady must have a ton of money to be giving away so much of it. No wonder she needs such big checks. There are a lot of zeros in $1 million. We gave Miss Mentry another standing ovation. Then Mr. Klutz made the shut up peace sign again, and we all got quiet. We can't thank you enough, Miss Mentry, he said. But now we have a problem. What are we going to do with this money? That's a problem? If you ask me, a problem is when you have no money at all. I'll spend it for you, shouted our librarian, Miss Rupee. Everybody laughed. Tell you what I'm going to do, Mr. Klutz said. We're going to have a contest to decide what to do with the money. Ooh, everyone oohed. Go back to your classrooms and think of some ideas of what we should do with the $1 million, Miss Klutz told us. The class that comes up with the best idea will have the first to use whatever we buy with the money. I'll announce the winning class at the end of the day. We walked 1,100,000 miles back to our classroom. So, Mr. Cooper said when we were seated, what do you think we should buy with $1 million? Pizza, Ryan shouted. We should have a giant pizza party for the whole school. Yeah, everybody yelled. Ryan should be in the gifted and talented program for coming up with that idea. Who doesn't like pizza? Do you know how many pizzas you can buy with $1 million, Mr. Cooper asked. He went to the board and wrote the number 1 million on it. He told us a pizza cost about $10. Then he divided a million by 10. 100,000 pizzas, shouted Andrea. That's a lot of pizza, said Michael. I can only eat 1 or 2 slices, said Emily. Me too, said Alexia. We can freeze the rest for leftovers, said Neil. That's what we do when we get home. May I ask where we would put all the leftover pizza? Asked Mr. Cooper. I know, said Alexia. We can buy 1,000 refrigerators. Yeah, everybody shouted. And we were going to put 1,000 refrigerators? Asked Mr. Cooper. In the playground, Michael said. Yeah, everyone shouted. As long as we're getting all those refrigerators, said Neil. Let's buy $1 million worth of ice cream. I like ice cream better than pizza. Yeah, everybody shouted. Why don't we just buy $1 million worth of candy? I suggested. Then we won't need any refrigerators. Yeah, everybody shouted. We were coming with some really good ideas. I was sure that our class would win the contest. I hate to tell you this, said Mr. Cooper, but elementary did not give us $1 million just to buy junk food. She wants us to buy something useful for the school. We need to think outside the box. I didn't see any boxes around. If I were in a box, I know what I'd be thinking about how to get out of the box. Now, thinking inside the box is a saying that a lot of people use. So what do you think that means? Thinking outside the box. Thinking outside the box means having really cool and creative ideas that aren't necessarily the norm. So thinking outside of the box would be for $1 million, instead of, donating it to some random school, learning to fix up my school in new and creative different ways. So what do you think would be a really cool idea that would go under thinking outside the box? We could buy racing cars with $1 million, suggested Michael. Maybe we could buy a football team, suggested Neil. How about a skate park? Alexia suggested. Why not give the $1 million to a school that doesn't have any money, suggested Emily. Our school doesn't have any money, I told her. Well, we have no money now, said Emily. We have $1 million. But if we gave the $1 million to a school that doesn't have any money, I told her, then we would be a school that doesn't have any money again. Maybe we should put the money in the bank, suggested Little Miss Perfect. Then we could watch it grow. Banks are boring, I said. Well, what if we did something educational with the money? Suggested Mr. Cooper. Ugh, he said the E word. Educational stuff is boring. I said, well, AJ said, Mr. Cooper, what is not boring to you? I tried to think of something that isn't boring. It was hard because most stuff is boring. TV, I finally said. TV isn't boring. That's when I got the greatest idea in the history of the world. I know, I said. We should buy one of those big flat screen TVs for our class. That would be cool. Yeah, everybody shouted. A flat screen TV doesn't cost $1 million, Mr. Cooper told us. For $1 million, we could buy a whole TV station. Well, I said, that we should buy our own TV station. That's it, I shouted, Mr. Cooper. AJ, you're a genius. Okay, so what do you think about that chapter? Having $1 million and the whole class is trying to figure out what to spend the $1 million on. You know, again, if it were me, I would spend it, give it to charity and whatnot. But what would you do with $1 million? Would you take some of that $1 million and help your school? Let's find out what everybody else does. So the next chapter, chapter 4, is boats. Let's move this a little bit. Okay. Boats. Boats. We have not talked anything about boats. So I'm very curious to see why the title of the chapter is called Boats. What do you think? Why do you think the chapter is called Boats? Make your prediction. Okay, let's get to it. So chapter 4 is called Boats. I didn't even know you could buy your own TV station, but I guess with $1 million you can buy just about anything. Everybody agreed that my idea was genius and I should get the Nobel Prize. That's a prize they give to people who don't have bells. Do you know what the Nobel Peace Prize is? The Nobel Peace Prize is given to different people that are influential or make a difference in our society. So one person that I know off the top of my head that who's won the Nobel Peace Prize is Barack Obama. Barack Obama won the Nobel Peace Prize for being a great president and advocating for those that are less fortunate than him. Can you find out, maybe research when you're on your computer or your iPad, somebody else who's won a Nobel Peace Prize? There's been a ton of people who have won them, and it's a really big honor to get. Well, almost everybody agreed. Annoying Andrea had a mean face on. She was mad because I came up with a great idea and she didn't. Mr. Cooper wrote down my idea and sent it to the office. At the end of the day, just before dismissal, Mr. Klutz made an announcement over the loudspeaker. Well, we had a lot of great suggestions for what we should do with $1 million, he said, but I can only pick one. So here's my decision. We're going to start our own elementary school TV station. The winner is Mr. Cooper's class. Everybody started yelling and screaming and shrieking and hooting and hollering and generally freaking out. Outside the school the next morning, we were all excited. Some men wearing overalls were carrying giant cameras and computers. And here's a picture. It says, Mr. Cooper's class, the winner. Very cool. Lights and TVs into the school. Somebody said that every class was going to get its own flat screen TV. When I got to class, one of those overall guys was mounting a TV on the wall. That's when we heard Miss Patty's voice on the loudspeaker. Today is Wednesday, she said. Blah, 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 sunny and breezy outside, blah, blah, blah. Today's lunch will be hot dogs, blah, blah, blah. We have a birthday Carrie Frew in the first grade, blah, blah, blah. She went on for 1,100,000 minutes. What a snooze fest. Nobody was listening. But after we pledged the allegiance, Miss Patty said something that caught my attention. Today will be my last day making this morning announcement, she said. Starting tomorrow, the announcements will be made over the new elementary school TV station. Yay, we all shouted. Okay, Mr. Cooper, turn the page to 23 in your math. He didn't get the chance to finish his sentence because because you'll never believe who ran through the door in that moment. Nobody. You can't run through a door. Doors are made of wood, but you'll never believe who ran through the doorway. It was a lady with the dark hair and big eyes. My name is Miss Cuddy, she said. To what do we owe the pleasure of your company, Miss Cuddy? Asked Mr. Cooper. That's grown-up talk for, what are you doing here? Miss Klutz hired me to help the class start your TV station, Miss Cuddy said. I'm a digital media arts teacher. I've never heard of digital media arts, but we were all glad she was here because none of us knew anything about cameras and lights and microphones. And besides, we would miss math. This TV station is going to be awesome, said Miss Cuddy. Every class in the school will be able to watch the morning announcements, and all people all over the town will be able to tune in too. So your parents will see you on TV. Cool, we all said. Now, which one of you is AJ? Asked Miss Cuddy. Everyone looked at me. For our first week on the air, you're going to be the anchor, said Miss Cuddy. The anchor, I asked. Doesn't that mean I get thrown off the boat? No, said Miss Cuddy. That means you get to read the morning announcements on TV. How come Arlo gets to be the anchor? Whined Andrea. I would make a great anchor. You would not, I said. Would too, said Andrea. Not too. We went back and forth like that for a while. The TV station was AJ's idea, said Mr. Cooper. That's why he gets to be the anchor. I stuck my tongue out at Andrea. Nah, boo-boo on her. I'm going to be the best anchor in the history of anchors, I announced. Well, let's not go overboard, AJ, said Mr. Cooper. Why is everybody always talking about being thrown off of boats? Miss Cuddy took us into the conference room, where those men with overalls were hammering and sawing and building the scenery for our morning announcements. There was a flat-screen TV on the wall. The conference room was starting to look like a real TV studio. Miss Cuddy told us that somebody would have to operate the camera. Michael volunteered, Alexia asked if she could be the director, and Andrea said she would write the scripts. The person in charge of the lights is called the gaffer, and Ryan got that job. Neil said he would handle the microphones, props, and other stuff. Emily said she would take care of the makeup. Miss Cuddy showed us how to work all the equipment. Tomorrow morning, she said, we're going to make history. And this is a picture of everybody working. It's really hard. Could you imagine setting up your own TV station? It must be really hard. All right, and that's chapter 4. So we've read already 4 chapters. We've learned about our main characters. We learned about Miss Elementary, who the school's named after, that she donated $1 million. AJ's idea, the main character, to his teacher, Mr. Cooper, another main character, saying that they should make a TV studio and a TV station for the school. So now Miss Cuddy, who is in the title of her book, she's the digital media arts teacher, and she's coming in to teach everybody how to work a camera, a microphone, the TV station, this way that it runs smoothly. What would you do if you had your own TV station? All right, so we are going to read chapters 5, 6, and 7 for tomorrow. I hope to see you there. Have a good night.